This video and this channel contain intense violence, gore, and disturbing content. If your age is under 18, if you have a sensitive mindset, and if you don't like blood, please do not watch this video. Bellwood, a city full of blood, a city full of brutal murders. The police find new bodies every day. Severed heads, hands, and feet decorating the streets with blood, and faces with torn skin, and a number was written on the walls of the crime scenes. The number 10. There was a young girl named Julie who lived in a small house in Bellwood with her parents. She heard the sound of the TV. Her father was watching the news as usual. The police found new bodies again, and the usual number was written on the wall of the crime scene. Today's bodies belong to a young and middle-aged man. The blood is fresh and it is obvious that it has happened recently. But the killer could escape again. Should we wait for the killer to be captured or new murders? She was tired of seeing the bloody scenes that were blurred. This killer made Bellwood a gloomy and a soulless city that nobody even wanted to step in it. For a while, leaving the city was also forbidden to avoid the killer's escape, because they had no name or address from that man or woman. When she looked out of the window, she saw the deserted street in the night sky. It felt like a post-apocalyptic zombie movie. Even going outside after dark was forbidden, and everyone had to lock their doors and windows. One person alone had instilled so much fear in the hearts of the people. She got tired, so she went to her room for some sleep. She found her bed in the darkness and threw herself onto it. She opened her eyes to the sound of a knock on the window. She turned her gaze toward it and saw a bloodied, wounded hand pressed against the glass. Suddenly a man appeared from below. Julie was scared a lot. She grabbed her phone and turned on the flashlight and aimed it toward the window, but wished she hadn't done that.
Help me!
Oh God, he couldn't even talk. Suddenly another person with a black mask appeared and wrapped his arm around the victim's neck. His hands were covered with white gloves, and on the left one was written something with blood. No, Julie couldn't believe that. Number 10? The man was the killer. The man was Death 10. The man that was being choked struggled a lot and accidentally pulled down the killer's mask. Julie was shaking with fear, but she did a smart thing. She opened her camera immediately and took a picture of the killer's face. Julie had the mysterious killer's face that wasn't mysterious for her anymore. The killer grabbed the victim's head and broke his neck with just one move. Then he covered his face and looked at Julie angrily. 1 punch, 2 punches, 3 punches. Julie was scared more and the killer got more angry. But something wasn't true. He couldn't break the window. The window wasn't broken. But why? Julie almost had forgotten. The mayor, for protecting people, had ordered that windows must be unbreakable. The killer got tired and stopped punching. Julie tapped on her phone with her finger, and after some seconds put it on her ear. 911, what's your emergency? The killer is here! Defton is here! She shouted immediately. She called the police. The killer was afraid and started running. He's running away! Calm down, we're sending a few people to your location. The killer completely disappeared. Her parents came into the room and turned on the light. What happened? The killer, he was right there, at the window. Julie said with fear. Calm down, you probably had a bad dream. Her mother said. I have his picture, Julie answered. She looked for the picture with her trembling hands, and after some seconds she found it and showed it to her mother. Look, we have to show it to the police. But unfortunately the picture was awful. It wasn't obvious at all. No, my hands trembled for sure. The sound of the doorbell echoed throughout the entire house. Julie went and opened the door fast. An officer was standing in front of her. Hello, ma'am. We received a call from here and viewer said that the killer was here. Yes, I called. I saw the killer's face. Hey, come here! Suddenly another officer called the officer that was talking to Julie. The officer went toward him, and Julie and her parents went with him too. Just look. His face is completely destroyed and his neck. Oh God. Everyone was scared and surprised. Julie's mother closed her eyes in order not to see the corpse. Send a few people to investigate. The new body has been found, one of the officers said to his handheld radio. You should leave here. The killer may come back again. Meanwhile, the killer, full of hatred and even fear, was watching them behind a wall. But his focus was mostly on Julie, because she was the only person that could see his face without being dead. He had to find a way to kill that girl. In his mind, he was just thinking about killing her. He disregarded them. He punched on the wall angrily and he broke his fingers. He just started running with all pain that he had. He saw a dark alley on his right and went into it. Some people were talking to each other and their faces were full of scars. When they saw the killer, they started laughing loudly and took out their knives from their pockets. Hey, aren't you afraid you're here? For a 20-and-something-year-old killer wasn't so good to talk like that. He just took out a knife with his uninjured hand and launched at them fast. The second person got ready, but Death 10 was already ready and had no fear. But something weird just happened. Suddenly bright light spread and they both looked up to the sky. Something like a meteor fell between them and a big crater was made on the ground. And a spherical object landed on the ground. The man that wanted to kill Death 10 was thrown and rendered unconscious. And others were afraid and went some steps back. But Death 10 was brave. He wanted to know what that thing is. The spherical object opened and a black watch appeared. But suddenly the watch jumped and wrapped itself around his wrist. He was afraid a lot. He shook his hand fast in order to separate it, but it was stuck. He slammed the watch under the wall and boom! Black and white light spread from the watch. He started to burn, but he didn't feel any pain. Nothing.